is very pleased to introduce Beverly Freeman, also known as Indie B, which is her stage name. She's been asked to perform all over the United States and overseas because she is talented in almost every genre of music, from gospel to blues and everything in between. She also writes songs and is currently on pre-production of her own one-woman show, which features the story of her life as a Black woman in narrative and song. And we are so thrilled. She's going to share some of her songs and the story of her life today with us. So Beverly, it's all yours.
Well,
NDB in this
let
case.
me just mute all and then.
Okay, you're all muted now.
Give it back to Beverly.
So save your applause.
Unmute.
Ask to unmute. Oh, that's not it. Mute all.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So get her on
So thank you so much, Anna and the Reno community, for including me in such a vital conversation. I'm honored. So I decided, instead of starting my presentation at the beginning of my one-woman show, I would start with a song that's from the second act. And I'm doing that because I want to, you know, I'm concerned that emotionally it may be too much. So I want to start you on a high note before I go into the really dark stuff, because it's pretty dark, okay? So I'm gonna start with a song that's called No Lines. And No Lines comes at a point where trauma's happened. I'm in my 20s, 30s, and I start exploring various religions. And I start studying religious science, science of mind. And that's where I was when Russell Garcia's daughter discovered me at Agape. And so the song comes from a space of, I've discovered at that point that I'm not my skin. I'm not the descendant of slaves. I am a spiritual being having a human experience. So that's where this song is from, and I'll share that with you now. Having technical difficulties. I thought it was done already. Let's see. I might have to sing without it. Sorry about that. I need the sound. Can you hear the music? I'm gonna have to do it without the speaker. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Bear with me, please. I'm not sure why this is not. Hold on. Thought of you as you looked at me. Look who eyes that saw separately. Believed in delusion of disconnect. Joy is knowing we're one spirit in effect, no lines. in the one mind. No lines in the one mind. No lines in the one mind. Lines are only lies in man's mind. Looked at myself as some thought of me. Look through eyes that saw separately. I deceived by a carnal mind's deception. My joy is knowing our divine connection. No lines in the one mind. No lines in the one mind. No lines in the one mind. Lines are only lies in man's mind. There's no other to see. No you, no me. We are one with each other, divine sister and brother. There's no line that separates between you and me, no space. Joy is seeing beyond illusion, divine and holy space. No lines in the one mind. No lines in the one mind. No lines in the one mind. Lines are only lies in man's mind. Lines in the one mind. No lines in the one mind. No lines in the one mind. Lines are only lies in man's mind. Lines are only lies in man's mind. Lines are only lies in man's mind. No. So, thank you. So I'm gonna go to the beginning of my show, and so it's a one-woman show, and so it's divided up in parts, and I do monologues as myself. There's a narrator, which I named Earth Mama, and I do a couple of speaking parts as relatives. So this is the beginning of the play. And it's a song called Souls Cry Out. I started writing this play, it's been a while, years, and at first I was going to call it Indie Be Free and that kind of stuff, and I kept wrestling with the name of it. And then some people came to me. I was arguing with some people, three people, as a matter of fact. I had been in these arguments, and in these arguments, people would use to prove their point that I was crazy and there was something wrong with me and they were right. They would say stuff like, well, you know, people have come to me and they've said, you know, ooh, you hang out with her? And they would, and one person even told me they were warned not to hang out with me because that bee is crazy. And so the name of my play is This Bee. And so I tried to spare you guys the bad words. But I thought it was kind of shocking because that's what people around me, I'm kind of known in my community as being a little off because people do things that are wrong and I kind of go off, but that's part of the trauma. So anyway, the play opens and it's an audible sound, and then the song comes on. So I'm gonna do that part right now. You know Beverly? You hang out with her? That bee is crazy. Souls cry out, 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 souls cry out. From painful testimonies buried within, souls cry out for Africa in the hue of my skin. Souls cry out from slave ships' lingering stench. Souls cry out from watery graves taken to in a pinch. Souls cry out after being forced onto grounds not their own. Souls cry out miles and miles captive away from home. Souls cry out after being worked to death for cotton and cane. Souls cry out for an end, quick a way to steal. Souls cry out, oppressed through generational ills. Souls cry out, echoing on and on and on and on and on and on. Souls cry out, souls cry out. From millions of Africans done oh so very wrong. Souls cry out, souls cry out, souls cry out. The next part is, so the story starts, as you know, it's the African diaspora. So we came over here, my ancestors who, as far back as I know the name of my great-great-grandmother who was a slave in Mississippi. So they are from the diaspora. And my story is about trauma. And the trauma started hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And so the fact that I am what some people call a crazy bee has a lot to do with the trauma that I've suffered. And so the suffering started a long time ago. My great-grandmother, Ella, would tell her children, I only have enough love for the one in my arms. The rest of you gonna have to take care of yourself. So she didn't want any children. And so by the time my grandmother got pregnant, she had, her mother died when she was 12. So she had to raise her brothers and sisters. She didn't want any children. So my mama got messed over. And so you have the generations of direct trauma. And then you have generations of what they call epigenetic change, FKBP5, the modification or altering of genetic encoding because of years of trauma. There is proof that it has happened. So the next song is called Generations of Pain. Suffering a captivating, torturous past. Enslavement started her disorder. Careless irritation carried it forward. She suffered with generations of pain. 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 Her head throbbed with beatings not her own. Hurting still, year after year, the pain never ended. Trapped body, wounded mind, wanting to take flight. She suffered with generations of pain. 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 Fact is, my grandmother wasn't treated well by the man on the streets of Chi-Town, and she wasn't being treated well at home by the most important man in her life, which left her feeling worthless. And so, with every negative interaction she had with the most significant man in her life, her heart oozed love's warmth until it was cold as ice. For it took what my grandmother became known as a cold-hearted sister to tell my mother, her first unwanted child, pregnant out of wedlock for a second time, either it goes or you go. A command brought on by
hateful nation.
a hateful nation.
Hateful nation.
Hateful nation.
Hateful nation.
Hateful nation. Her father emasculated in a hateful nation. Her heart formed cold in a hateful nation. Her humanness disregarded in a hateful nation. Her reputation damaged in a hateful nation. She was degraded, dominated, subjugated, stifled, oppressed in a hateful nation. Her identity robbed of her in a hateful nation. She was violated in a hateful nation. Hateful nation. They hated her so she started to hate herself in a hateful nation. Hateful nation. Hateful nation. Hateful nation. So so as the opening, part of the opening talks about how coming over the seas, the water, we kind of lost our identity, and then we went through slavery, and then the Reconstruction, and so for the most part, we're a broken people. So this next song is called Broken Family of Mine.
Broken family of mine. Broken family ties.
Family of mine. They became desensitized to survive. Learned insensitivity was key. Pretended they weren't bothered, you see. Repressed their anger for they saw too many suffer. Broken family of mine. Broken family of mine. Faking their contentment became a form of entertainment. Ignored bonds worth honoring, drowned them in family drama. Those with skin farthest from white caught hell, seldom got treated right. Broken family of mine. Broken family ties. broken family of mine.
Family tie.
Being of a family with generations of mental and emotional brokenness and having lived 6 decades of my life in a hateful nation is why I act like I'm crazy most of the time. But I'm not crazy. I have been emotionally and mentally disabled, being the product of a one-night stand between an astounded effer and the astoundedly effed up, and those generations before them. Knocked up by the astounded, unknowingly left behind an unwanted gun in my mother's oven meant my birth was an unblessed event. Early one September morning, out of a womb of shame I came. No proud papa proclaiming, "It's a girl, it's a girl, it's a girl," strutting the hospital hallway. Empty was the hospital hall of spectators for my delivery when I came to be. No spectators from my family peered so close, fog formed on the nursery window to see which bundle of joy came from, for it belongs to their family tree. Like a fallen leaf left to be discarded, my mother wouldn't keep me after carrying me for 9 months. So the sound I heard while in my mother's womb, I would no longer hear. That which was meant to be my usher and point of reference in this world would not be there for me when I came to be. Taken away from the rhythms of Africa generations ago, and taken away from my mother's heartbeat. These are rhythms my soul will forever long for.
My anger, my anger, my anger.
My anger forcefully burst forth unexpected, most times without warning. My anger comes in waves of rage, impactful, potent as an oceanic rogue storm. My anger sparks, flames, jolts, causing some culprits to tremble. My anger erupts, seemingly unwarranted in comparison, leaving observers in pause to wonder and or recover. The magnitude of my angry outburst explains character traits brought on by centuries of unresolved, repressed indignation, having had my genetic encoding altered. My anger is the spoils of generations of unexpressed indignation. My anger. My anger comes from being 9 generations removed from Africa, my home, the motherland. Born 4 generations after slavery supposedly ended and floated in tainted amniotic fluid, laced with fear and uncertainty for 270 days. Then expelled a female, Black, into an existence complicated beyond my years and mortal understanding. This is Earth Mama reading right now. I found this article. It's pretty interesting. Let me read it to you. Researchers have found genetic markers are altered by traumatic experiences in a process called epigenetic change. Looking at the gene FKBP5, effects of trauma can be seen in the genes of an individual. Since DNA is passed from parent to children, traumatic life experiences affect the offspring genetically. These genetic modifications can be passed down through generations, altering the genetic encoding of slaves and their descendants. Slaves genetically altered due to severe trauma in the 1600s begot my great-grandmother, whose genes, being genetically altered, also was severely traumatized, begot my grandmother, whose altered genes got traumatized, and she begot my mother, whose altered genes got traumatized, and she begot me, whose genes got traumatized. Traumatized is a product of centuries of traumatically modified genetic encoding without psychological treatment and still living in a hateful nation. The outpicturing of my trauma has intensified. I've likened the amount of altering of generational and direct trauma on my genetic markers equivalent to more than a bit, more than a byte, more than a kilobyte, more than a megabyte, more than a gigabyte. I equate the effect to be equivalent to a terabyte of traumatizing, altering, and coding on my genetic markers and mine, which means I'm really effed up. A terabyte of traumatizing, altering, and coding effect on me has left me with a predisposition for terrorizing mental and emotional issues. Angry Black woman doesn't even begin to describe me. I'm so angry. If my anger could be converted and stored, its force would be like a solar flare, powerful enough to wipe some stuff out globally. I recently came to grips with and owned up to just how fucking angry I am. Thus, the impetus for my crazy. My crazy. My crazy is built up indignation that lashes out from centuries ago, ever increasing. My crazy due to unresolved erupts uncontrollably. My crazy is emotions formed over centuries held back. My crazy. Sometimes it seems my crazy's all I got. My crazy. Sometimes it seems my crazy's all I got. My crazy. My crazy is genetically laced with generational rage. My crazy rises up from toxic roots where they started. My crazy. My crazy houses mournful pain, most definitely. My crazy at times struts, growls, and groans indiscriminately. At times it seems my crazy's all I got. At times it seems my crazy's all I got. My crazy incites, relieves, and vindicates me. My crazy is sourced by centuries of immeasurable pain. My crazy, at times I'm unable to keep my crazy from calling. My crazy too often has me uncontrollably bawling. At times it seems my crazy's all I got. At times it seems my crazy's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Indy B. That was such powerful stuff. Just all of it. Okay, we're going to open it up to everyone now.
I really enjoyed your singing. I missed that kind of singing in the Bahai faith, you know? It's like when we left the church, a lot of that singing is not there, that very deep emotional wave of, I would say, that connection with God. So I heard that all throughout your presentation, and I just want to say I really missed that so much. And I can't wait for more Black folk to become Bahai so that we can have those great, you know, gospel groups that can pick us up every time we get together.
Thank you.
Yeah. Barely, I can't stop crying.
Oh, bless your heart. See? Don't
It-
start
it-
crying, 'cause then I'm gonna start crying.
There's so much to unpack there about the raw emotions that have gone on for generations and generations. And we all need to hear it, learn it, and fix it together. And the only way is through a spiritual solution to this. It's not through legislation. That hasn't worked in the past. We have a spiritual solution to this. And Abdul Baha said it was coming. The oppression is still there. We think it's not. We have to forgive poor Beverly. It's 95 in Sausalito, which is still cooler than here, but she has no air conditioning. So she's kind of suffering, and she did all that singing and really gesticulating without any air conditioning. So bless you.
I
Bless you.
grew up without an air conditioner, so I'm used to what they call the Indian summers. So we grinned and bared it. So I'm used to it. I just hate that you have to watch me suffer. I'm okay. Soon as
We
I
watched
watch this
you
film, I'm gonna
share
go sit
your
in cold water.
share your pain, your everything, share your soul with us. It just means so much to us.
Oh, I'm glad I was able to hopefully give you some insight.
Hi, Beverly.
Hi.
I am Mary Jo. I really enjoyed your singing, and your lyrics touched me deeply. And I don't often hear people talk about the generational, transfer of pain and suffering and trauma. And I'm glad to hear you talking about it, because I think it can.
That's what my play is about. I think that's what I was. I've been writing it a long time, and I've kind of been. It's like a spirit. It's been a spiritual experience, because I got real clear. This is what you're supposed to be doing. I didn't tell a lot of it. It's a lot in there, and it's. But I've come to find out who I really am. Just like the Bahai faith says, religion and science must agree. And so in quantum physics, we are one. That's the scientific basis behind the Bahai faith. So I learned that because, I had a rocky start. So it's kind of a good thing. So that's the good end of the play.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that out. More people need to understand that and appreciate that.
Yeah, I am not my skin, and I don't attribute to Black Lives Matter. I'm not my skin, so.
Well, the lines.
I am spirit
the
after human
lines,
experience.
when you talk about the lines, are you talking about color lines then?
Any lines.
Any lines that
Lines that
separate
separate
us?
us are illusions. They're illusions. And that's the unfortunate part about what's going on.
Beverly, I was, just feeling the Hateful Nation
Uh-huh.
one. I mean, almost as like a recitation.
Yeah.
It's upsetting to me to think that is a perspective of the country in which you were born and in which you live. I mean,
That's
it's
exactly
very
it.
sad.
Just for that reason.
Have you felt that way, that this nation doesn't like you since you were a child?
My whole life. When I was a little girl, I was picketing in front of my school, and a police officer called me a little black bee.
Oh.
So it started little, and so it's not just the outward and the stuff that comes at you, but it's the subliminal stuff. As a little girl, I didn't see myself on television. So it has never been a nice place for me. It's never been a nice place for me. You just learn to grin and bear it and do the best you can.
Jonathan spoke to us a few weeks ago, and he spoke about that, of not seeing himself in the school books, in television, any place. He's not represented. What does that how does it make you feel? I mean, you really let us know how it makes you feel to not ever see yourself represented. Now, Jonathan was hopeful in terms of I think, Jonathan, I don't want to just misrepresent what you shared with us, but I think you said it's changed a bit. It is changing, but there's some things, and the recent riots and protests and everything are telling us that some things have changed, but really deep down, the systemic racism is still here, and we need to do something about it.
Black people are here for a reason. I am going nowhere. I want people to know that Black is supremely beautiful. I think that's what the Black Lives Matter movement is all about. It's like, it's not that Black is better. It's just that Black has not been recognized, like you're saying. It hasn't been appreciated. And Abdu'l-Baha and Baha'u'llah were appreciating Blackness way before anyone in this nation could look at it and say, it's beautiful. They were talking about us being the pupil of the eye. That was, and still, that is the one thing that I can say to any Black brother, and they will stop in their tracks like, what? What'd you just say? Your prophet said that we are the pupil of the eye? That is the only quote that my aunt, who was a Bible thumping woman, it would stop her in her tracks. That was the one quote that brought her to Bahai meetings. Even though she never became a Bahai, the idea that a prophet could say, we, Black people, are the pupil of the eye, and without that pupil, the person can't see. The eye can't see without that pupil. So we have a very important part to play. I've been talking to people all day on the phone, people that love me who are not Baha'is, and they are so afraid of what's going to happen November 2nd. My stepbrother saying, I may go back to Africa. I said, go to Africa. This is my home.
And Africa's, they're just as bad. They're in bad shape.
I'm just saying, it's like, I'm not going, this is my country too. I'm not going to, I don't care how bad things get. We know that the spiritual destiny of America is glorious. This country may get destroyed before it comes to a beautiful end.
But it's the country, it's the system that'll be destroyed. It's not the country or the people.
But we know that it's going to have a very good ending somewhere down the line. But I'm not going anywhere. And I definitely want it to come to a place where all colors, all ethnicities, all races are treated equally. I mean, so much. I was telling my brother, I said, look, bro, when I was coming up, you looked at television, there was not one single Black face anywhere. You just didn't see it. And I said, within a generation, it really has changed, but there's a lot that needs to change to get it to another level. But I really appreciate what you brought to the table today, because to me, what you brought was real, and everything can't just be happy smiles. Mm-hmm. Right? Everything can't just be a happy face. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the pain, because to understand the Black experience, it's mixed with a lot of pain. It's mixed with a lot of, humiliation. But out of that humiliation is going to come something very beautiful. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Because, go ahead. Because what? You were saying something. Go ahead.
No, I said out of that pain and humiliation, a gift is coming. A beautiful gift is coming.
Thank you. I tussle with, I go back and forth between saying certain things in the play that may offend people. And but it hit me today that I came up in South Central Los Angeles. I don't know if many of you are familiar with that place. There was a movie about it. John Singleton did a movie. That movie was filmed in the neighborhood where I live. And so we talked a certain way and we act a certain way. So I had to, there are words in there. And so my play was first called I Be Free. And it's, from traumatized to triumphant, from effed up to freed up. And then I got these conversations going, and people would go, well, you know, people have said, asked me, you hang out with her, that bee is crazy. And I thought, let me name it this bee so that I give you an explanation as to why I am the way I am. So I changed the name at that point. So it got a little bit, what do you call that? The shock thing. So, but I'm really proud, and I'm so glad that you guys asked me to share, because it's like feedback for me to, kind of give me an idea of what, the effect is having on people. So you were like my guinea pigs today. Cute little guinea pigs.
Beverly, we are so extremely grateful for you to be here. It was so powerful. We just want to give you like Anna's crying. We just want to give you hugs, and oh my God.
Hugs. Don't we miss the hugs? These times call for hugs. And
so I hope you guys got some kind of understanding that would enable you to better relate.
We learned so much, but Beverly, everybody needs to see this. Needs to see.
Well, I'm working on it.
We learned so much. It's so powerful. It affects our hearts. So, hon, everyone needs to see this. It's just.
Well, we did, Donna, we did record this, and it is being recorded, and we're going to send it to the people that couldn't be there. Poor Candy is in the hospital right now. She may be under general anesthesia right now as we speak. Anna, do you know? Is she?
She was supposed to be operated on in the morning, in the AM, and going home this evening. Would you believe that? So.
Wow.
I just heard from her that there was a couple of emergencies, and they have delayed hers. She doesn't know when hers is going to be. I just got a text from her a little while ago.
Okay.
That's the worst place to be in, isn't it? Just waiting and waiting and waiting for it to happen.
For those that you probably did not meet, Mr. Hogan, who used to be in Sparks, Roger Hogan, who is a jazz player and saxophone player. Beverly sang with his group.
Oh, good.
Beverly, do you remember when you were in Sebastopol with the Bahai group and you sang jazz with them? Yeah, one of the members there, the older gentleman that played the sax.
From Reno. Yes.
He now lives in Texas, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you sang with the group, with the Bahai group. You sang
and there was a guy from Reno that came.
Yeah, right.
I remember that.
Yeah, right. Anyway, what I want to say, Beverly, is that you put music to the pain.
Yeah.
And that is
did the music work with it? I wrote all these songs myself.
I know how talented you are.
I wrote all these songs myself, and I recorded them on my phone.
There you go.
So I have to go in the studio and reproduce them. I want it to be this big play. It's got all music and stuff. I want dancers. So I have to raise money and all that. It's a big production.
It is.
It sounds like it. But you are so talented, and that pain and humiliation, I think.
It's a testament, because the power of God can take you from the trauma to here,
right,
with a smile on my face. Okay.
Yeah.
I made it. So many others don't make it, actually. So, yeah. Thank you, Anna. I'll cut you off. I apologize, but I'm kind of.
That's okay, Beverly. I wish I could give you a hug.
Oh.
Send him one there.
I'm gonna have to come out to Reno and visit.
Yeah, I invited you many times, but it's.
I'm gonna come soon.
Good. You have a place to stay.
Maybe I can come for my birthday. It's the 21st of September.
There you go. Go ahead.
What is your
Wait, maybe I'll come for my birthday, huh?
There you go.
Beverly,
That sounds good.
you need to be tuning in the next 2 weeks. We're going to have the pastor of the African Methodist Evangelical Church, Episcopalian Church, AME Church, Bethel AME Church. And he's a wonderful, wonderful man. His name is Greg Thomas. He's a visiting pastor there, and he will be speaking to us about his experience. And it won't be raw. It won't be raw. You're raw. You need that, but you need to listen to what he has to say. And then 2 weeks after that, we have a seeker, and his name is Stephen Rodriguez. And actually, Tony connected me with Stephen. And Stephen is mixed race, and he's not accepted by the African American community, and he feels he's not accepted by the white community.
Black men's experiences are way different from ours.
Well, that's absolutely.
That will be a different. I wanted to print a little book for Black men. I call them American Kings because of Martin Luther King. I call all Black men kings. Their experience. I mean, you can see the attack on Black men now. So yeah, that'll be great. Send me the information. I would love to.
I will send you the flyer.
I would love to hear. I mean, yeah. I met a man. I think he was the first African American fireman in Oakland.
Wow.
And I had just come out of Los Angeles, and I was in this New Thought thing, and he was trying to tell me how it was. And I kind of, was like, oh, my brother, get over it. And then he kind of said something to me that said, no, you can't push his pain away. He sung with the San Francisco Opera. He suffered not only racism, but he suffered because he was a heterosexual Black man. So I would, Black men's stories, they have suffered a lot. I mean, it's horrible. So my heart goes out to them. Thank you for joining us, Jonathan, because I know you know all about this, so you don't need to hear this, But
I can hear it again. It's okay.
Well, but we want the conversation to be an intra conversation.
That's what you want to, yeah.
We want to that's what Abdul Baha told us to do, is that we can't be agitating. We need to all get together and have this conversation and listen to one another and fix it together. And that's what we're trying to do through these conversations.
So I thought I would tell you, I'm starting a group on Facebook called the Black Couch. And we'll be having conversations about various topics. So if you want to learn some things about us, I'll let you guys know when we're airing. We're going to tape one tonight on Zoom. I got to go. And we're going to be dealing with suicide in the Black community. Why we kill ourselves and why we don't kill ourselves. Suicide. So I'll send you some information as to, we're going to record tonight, and I'm a real big advocate of mental health, mental wellness. And so I've started a group on Facebook called the Black Couch, and we'll be having conversations in the Blackness. So you want to learn some stuff? That's a good place for you to tune in.
But Beverly, is that going to be once a week or every week? How's that going to work?
We're organizing it right now. So this will be the second one. The first one didn't go too well. I look terrible. So I'm learning how to sit on camera, that kind of stuff, And so this will be the first one. So we're trying to do it every week. Are you on Facebook?
I am.
Okay. So Indy B Sings. Follow me, and I'll put you in the Black Couch group. And when we're gonna film tonight. I got 2 more Zooms to do.
Send it to me too, please, Beverly. I'll send it out to the community. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna try to do it every week, once a week. We're gonna try. I have a therapist. I have a woman who has 2 degrees in clinical, therapist and all that. And she's real